So welcome back to ABC. This week we're looking at some more amazing Bible characters that we're going to hear about a bit later. But first, we've got some exciting news for you guys. For you and for your grown-ups, we're going to go live with all our children's work right here in the church. We're still going to be doing stuff on the internet. You're still going to be able to catch it through YouTube. But we're going to be meeting here once a month for each of our children's groups. Now, we're saying that in faith because obviously we don't know what the government are going to say. They might change the guidelines. They do that a little bit. But we're really hoping that each of our children's groups can come into the building and have live children's work on a Sunday morning, once a month. But to be able to do that, your grown-ups need to ring up church, they need to speak to Inga or Rhonda. They need to make sure that you're registered on our system and they need to tell us which week you want to come. There is a timetable that's going to go out. It's going to be visible on the church newsletter and on our social media and on our website to tell you which weeks each thing is going to happen. So this week we've got the lovely Rachel who's going to come and do our PlayDoh challenge. She does all kinds of clever things for church and she has got 2 minutes to model this Bible story. Rachel, you ready?
Yes.
Okay, it's this one.
Okay.
Ready,
Yep.
Steady, go! Rach, can you tell us what Bible story you've made? It's really good. I think I've got it.
So clearly, this is the story of Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego in the fiery furnace.
And this is
An additional mystery man that meets them in the furnace and protects them so they don't get burnt up.
amazing.
These guys are great. Read about them in the Bible. They're so cool.
Thank you very much.
You're so welcome.
This week, we're reading another story in the Bible from the book of Daniel. It's called The Fiery Furnace. King Nebuchadnezzar's army had defeated the Israelites. Now he was their ruler. King Nebuchadnezzar built a golden statue. Then he made a bad law. It said, when the music plays, everyone must bow down and worship the statue. Those who disobey will be thrown into the fiery furnace. The music began to play. The people fell down and worshipped the statue. But Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego refused. We only worship the true God, they said. The king said, make the furnace extra hot. He had the 3 men thrown inside. Yet, when the king looked into the furnace, there were 4 men walking around. One of them looked like an angel from God. The king shouted to the men, come out! Your God has saved you. The fire had not hurt them. They did not even smell of smoke. So the king made them rulers in his kingdom.
Hi guys, welcome to another week of ABC, Amazing Bible Characters. And this week we are looking at 3 friends of Daniel. Daniel was who we looked at last week, so if you've not had a chance to watch that episode, why not tune in afterwards and see what we learned about Daniel. Now, Daniel's friends had awesome names: Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego. Try saying that 3 times fast. In fact, why don't we try saying that 3 times fast? Okay, so we're going to say Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego as fast as you can 3 times over. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego. Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego. Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego. Not bad. How did you get on? Now, apart from having cracking names, these guys were in the same boat as Daniel. They'd been taken from their homeland to somewhere completely new, Babylon, with new customs and new traditions, and they had to try and follow God's way in this new place, which wasn't always easy. In fact, there's this one moment that we've just read about with Claude, where the king had his own version of musical statues. Now, if you've ever played musical statues, you know that usually the music plays, and when it stops, everyone has to stay as still as a statue. Just like this. But this king's version was to build a very tall gold statue, and when the music played, everyone had to bow down and worship it, which was a problem for our 3 friends in the story today, because they knew that to follow God meant to worship nothing else. They were not to bow down and worship anyone other than God. When the king heard about this, he was furious. He told them that they had to bow down and worship this statue, otherwise they were going to be chucked into a fiery furnace. Their reply to the king is amazing. They say to him that they have a God who will save them. And even if he doesn't save them, he chooses not to, they will not bow down and worship anything other than God. How amazing is that? That shows how much they trusted God, how much it meant to follow God. Well, the king is not impressed with what they say, and he orders his folks to turn up the heat on this fiery furnace to make it so much hotter than it's ever been before. And Meshach, Shadrach and Abednego are chucked into it. But instead of burning up, the king sees a 4th person who looks like an angel in there with them. He calls to them to come out. Have any of you guys ever been involved in a campfire? I love them. I love toasting marshmallows, I love the songs, but afterwards, you always just stink of smoke. It's really smelly. But Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego, not only were they not singed or burnt by the fire when they came out, but they didn't even smell of smoke. The king was amazed. He realized that their God was a mighty God who saves, and he was in awe of this. It's a really cracking story, this one, because it teaches us a lot about what it means to follow God. The trust that Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego had, the confidence that they had in God, and the determination that they had to make sure that God was first in their lives. Now, we live in a world where lots of people don't put God first. There's other things that come first in their life. It might be popularity. It might be being the best at something. It might be having lots of stuff. And it's really easy for us that follow God to fall into the same trap, to forget to put God first. This is a story that reminds us of how important it is to keep God at the center, to make sure that we're talking to Him, learning from Him, chatting with other Christians as well, tuning in to our videos every week to learn together. Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego had great confidence in God, and that's our prayer for you guys this week, that our faith in God would grow together, that we'd learn to trust God in the same way that these 3 guys did. Okay, I'll talk to you next week. See you then. Bye.
Alright guys, it is time for this week's challenge. We have Becca against Malcolm, and the aim of this one is to stack the sugar cubes as high There's a sugar cube. If you're not seeing one, it's got to be stacked as high as possible in a minute. And our 10 years link this week is Nebuchadnezzar made a very high statue. Okay, contenders, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1, stack. Has it. Guys, why don't you have a go of this at home? You could use sugar cubes like we have, or any building blocks you can get hold of. Who in your family can stack the highest tower?
So this week we are going to make this together. I don't know if you've seen these before. Some people call them chatterboxes, some people call them consequences. And we've adapted it a little bit to help us think about our story today. So when I open it like this, can you see there are 3 people in there? That's our Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego. And when I do it like this, there's a 4th person, just like in our story. Someone who looked like a son of the gods, looked like an angel, was in there with Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego. So, shall we try making it together? And to do that, you're going to need a piece of paper, something to colour in with. I've got crayons here, scissors, a couple of pens, and that's it. No glue this week. Okay, so you're going to start. We need to make this into a square first. So the best way to do that is to take a corner, fold it over so that it meets the top edge, and fold it down. Okay, so it should look like that. Then we want to cut along this edge here. So if you need a grown-up to use scissors, make sure they're with you doing this too. So I'll just cut along there, like so, and that gives me my square. Now keep it folded over like that, and we're going to fold it again to make a smaller triangle. Okay, like that. So you can see, folded it once, folded it twice. Make sure you get those creases in, and then fold it back out into your square. Then you want to take each corner and fold it in to the middle, like this, all the way around. And you end up with a smaller square, like that, okay? Turn it over, so this side's facing up, and do the same thing again. Take those corners and fold them into the middle. 3, 4. You're almost done. Like that. So I've got ones that flap on that side and triangles looking like that on this side. I'm going to place it down and I'm just going to fold it up like so, and fold it across again so I get a tiny little square like that. When I open it out, you should then be able to manipulate it like that. Okay, now to decorate it, fold it back out to this stage so it's in the square, and you want to colour in. I'm not very good at this kind of thing. Artistic skills are not my thing, but I've gone for a bit of a flame design. Okay, so doing that side and that side, like so. And when you're there, when you've done that, you're going to need 2 pens to add in our people. So the way that we're going to do this is take one colour. This is going to be your one that looked like a son of the gods. And you're going to, I've gone stick man because that's all I can do. Do him on the top corner, or the top triangle, okay? Then grab your other colour and next to him, draw a stick man at the top. Okay, so I've got my blue one, black one. Now you're going to need 6 black stick mans going round in each of these sections. Okay, so I've got 1 there, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, which means you'll be left with 1 empty square, which works when you fold it. This one works. This wouldn't happen on Blue Peter, would it? There we go. Okay, so can you see that? I've got 3 there. When I go that way, you get your 4. Okay, like that. Now, added to that, this is just, what I like about this is when I'm chatting with God, I can be doing this and be thinking about how God is with me when times are hard, just in the same way that he was with Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego. So it's a really good thing just to be thinking about, meditating on. But to add it to that, I thought it'd be quite good if we open it out even further, we can write some verses on the inside that help us to remember that. So I've gone with 2 bits from our passage today. The first is something that Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego say. They said, "The God we serve is able to save us." So I've written that there because I think that would be a really good thing for me to remember. And then I've also written something that the king says after the miracle happens. He said, "No other God can save his people like this." That's in verse 29. So I've popped that there. Then 2 other verses to help me remember to trust God and just how powerful he is. So I've gone with Proverbs 3:5, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart." And Zephaniah 3:17 says, "The Lord your God is with you, the mighty one will save you." So they're in there. So I'm going to use this week to remind myself that God is with me and to trust in him in everything that I do, just in the same way that Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego did. And hopefully you'll be able to do one too, and it'll help you to remember those things. Okay, I'll chat to you next week. Bye.
We hope you've really enjoyed everything that we've done this week. That's it for this week. Just before we go though, a reminder for you about going live. We've got a date for your diary. Tell your grown-ups to get their diary out and write it down, or put it in their phones, whatever they do. Our date is Sunday, October the 4th at 9:30, that's the time. We are inviting you, your grown-ups and your whole families to come into church for a service that is designed just for you guys. We're really, really excited to have us all together, and we're really hoping that we'll be able to go ahead with that. Don't forget though, you need to phone up the office to book in. Make sure that you're registered and get your name written on the list. See you there!